Cars, a copyrighted program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Calling all cars. Attention all cars. San Francisco Police calling all cars. Attention broadcast 127. Be on the lookout for a man described 5'10", 130 pounds, gray hair. This suspect is wanted for questioning in connection with the burglaries in the marina and on Nob Hill. That's all.
If you were a driver of a police car or a fire engine, with human life depending upon your ability to save seconds in speeding to the rescue, you'd certainly select your gasoline carefully. You'd test many brands to find the fastest gasoline. You'd make tests for power, for quick starting. Well, that's exactly the way large cities and counties select their gasoline. Isn't it convincing proof of the overwhelming superiority of Rio Grande cracked gasoline that it is specified to power more police, fire, and emergency equipment than any other brand everywhere it is sold? Your own life may depend upon starting your car quickly, upon instantaneous response to acceleration to snatch your car out of danger in traffic emergencies. It costs you no more to enjoy police car performance in your own car. You can get Rio Grande cracked gasoline with tetraethyl, identically the same gasoline police cars use, at your neighborhood independent service station at no extra cost. And you will find that your car operates so much more efficiently on this patented processed gasoline that you get more miles to the gallon. The largest cities and counties of the West have found that emergency gasoline is more economical. So will you if you use Rio Grande cracked gasoline. And now it is our great pleasure to present Sheriff Murphy of San Francisco County, who will speak to you from the studios of station KFRC in San Francisco. Sheriff Murphy.
Good evening. At this time of the year, our attention is focused upon the boys of our nation who will be the leaders of tomorrow. All over the country, boys are being extolled to virtue, inspired to emulate their fathers, told of the debt they owe their parents. But there is a debt the parents owe the child. The father must give the child something to emulate, the proper guidance, the proper character for the child to respect. In the drama you are about to hear, the father failed miserably in this duty, and through the inscrutable workings of blind destiny, his very failure in his duty to his child worked his downfall. I hope that every father listening to this broadcast will heed its moral. Not that every father has a criminal record or ever will have one, but that he may realize how important his every word and thought is to the children whose duty it is to guide to a useful maturity.
Several years ago, during the recreation hour in the prison yard in Folsom Penitentiary.
Well, Red, I get my papers next week.
Yeah?
Yeah, the board finally got around to giving me a parole.
Gee, that's fine. Hey, what are you going to do when you get out?
What do you think?
Going back to the racket?
Sure. Listen, I did a sleep in Quentin and another in Walla Walla. And why? Because I made mistakes. Well, I've been doing a lot of thinking since I've been up here, and I know how to beat the rap every time now.
Yeah? What's the system, huh?
Think I'd tell you? Listen, all you need to know is this. I'm going to clean up when I get on the outside, and the copper ain't born that'll ever catch up with me.
And 2 weeks later, Henry Edwards leaves the prison with his secret scheme of police-proof crime. Goes direct to San Francisco to a little house in the Mission District.
Hello there.
Oh, Henry. Hello, Pop.
Well, well, Bobby. Golly, how you've grown.
Sure, Pop.
Henry, how are you?
Fine, just fine.
Oh, I'm so glad you're back. It's been hard, Henry. So hard without you.
Yeah, I guess it must have been.
Where you been, Pop?
Why,
I've told you 100 times, Bobby. Your daddy's been on a business trip.
Gee, it's a funny kind of business that takes you away that long.
Yes, Bobby, it is. A funny kind of business. Now run along and play.
Yeah, but gee, I want to...
Go on, Bobby. You heard your mother. Now scram.
Scram? What's that mean, Pop?
Run along, Bobby.
Oh, all right.
You should be ashamed, Henry, teaching that child the dirty things you learned up in that place.
Huh? What? What are you talking about?
That word you used.
What word? Scram?
Yes.
Why, that isn't dirty. It just means...
I don't care what it means. I don't want to know. There are some things you don't seem to realize, Henry Edwards. The things I've been going through. How I've shielded from your child the fact that his father's a convict. How I've lied to him and to everybody else about my husband.
You're ashamed of me, huh?
Oh, Henry, it isn't very nice to have to hide the truth. I'm getting tired, Henry, worn down. I lost faith in everything. When they sent you away the first time when we were living in Seattle, I was hurt. But I tried to excuse you and forgive you. You promised you'd go straight when you got out. Well, you did. You went straight to San Quentin as fast as you could. And I forgave you again. But I'd lost hope by then. And I was right. Bobby had his father with him only 6 months, and they sent you to Folsom. What kind of a life do you think that is for me, Henry? A fine kind of a home atmosphere to bring up a child in.
You think it's been any kind of a life for me? Sitting in a cold cell day after day, wondering how you and the kid are?
You were in that cell of your own doing, Henry. And if you were half a man, you'd have the decency to go straight. Oh, I'm not saying it for myself. I don't count anymore. You took the best years of my life to prison with you. But for Bobby's sake, give him a father to be proud of.
You haven't changed a bit, have you, Mildred?
What do you mean?
Still reading the riot act. I got out of stir and come home wanting comfort, a good meal, understanding. And what do I get? The pants nagged off of me.
Oh, how little you understand, Henry.
Yeah, lots
I've said all I'm going to say. If you have a single atom of manhood in your body, you'll know what to do. Oh, I'll cook you good meals, Henry. I'll give you comforts. I'll be your housekeeper. But for the sake of your son, you ought to do the right thing. He's what both of us have got to live for now.
I'm meaning to do the right thing, Mildred. This time it's going to be different. I got something lined up. I'll start making money. You won't never be ashamed of me again. I'm through with being a tin horn crook.
Oh, Henry, if I could only believe you.
Later the same day, Henry Edwards enters an apartment house on Filbert Street. Rings the bell of apartment 108.
Hank.
In person.
Oh, darling, come on in. Sit down. Tell me all about yourself. When did you get out? Oh, no. No, don't say anything. Kiss me first. There. That's better. Oh, I've been missing that.
So have I.
Have a drink?
Sure.
Here you are.
Here's to us.
To us.
Place hasn't changed much.
I've kept it just the way it was, waiting for you to come back.
Swell.
What you going to do now?
I got plans. They're never going to put me away again. I'm going to clean up, and then you and I are going away for good.
Nothing would suit me better.
Listen, I learned plenty in the big house. That place is a university, and I got a master's degree. Now, here's the dope. I told the old woman I'm going straight, see? Saves a lot of argument. So I'll work out of this joint.
Anything you say goes with me.
That's the way I like to hear you talk, baby. I'll tell the old lady I got a job at night somewhere, and that'll leave me free at nights to glom me a bankroll.
Oh, officer, thank heavens you've come. I declare I'm afraid to stay in this house even in the daytime after what's happened.
Well, just what has happened, ma'am?
I've been robbed.
When?
Last night when I was asleep. I went to bed about 11 o'clock, and when I got up this morning, all my jewels were gone. Somebody had come right into my bedroom and gone through my jewel case. I can't understand why I didn't wake up. I'm such a light sleeper.
Did you lock all the doors and windows before you went to bed?
Indeed, I did. Ever since Mr. Watkins passed on, he was my third husband, you know. I've been very careful to lock up securely. I don't even have a window open at night. I'm that frightened of living alone.
Yes, any signs of the windows or doors being jimmied?
No, none whatever. They're just the same as when I locked them last night.
Well, we'll have the fingerprint man go over the house for prints. If you'll give me a description of the missing property.
Well, there was a 3-carat solitaire set in platinum, and a baguette watch with 15 diamonds, and an emerald brooch.
Good morning, Mildred.
Morning. 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's right, it is.
I heard you come in at 7 this morning. A little late, weren't you?
Yeah, we had to work overtime down at the docks. The fog held that New Zealand freighter off the gate most of the night, and we had to get her cargo off as soon as she docked.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
I got some hot for you.
Thanks.
Henry.
Yeah?
I want to talk to you about Bobby.
What's wrong with him?
Nothing's wrong with him.
Well?
Don't you think you ought to get acquainted with him?
What do you mean?
Well, the boy scarcely knows you. You scarcely know him. You spend most of the years since he was born in prison.
Now, Mildred, don't start harping on that again.
I don't intend to. Only now you work all night and sleep all day.
What do you mean all day? It's only 3 o'clock.
Yes, and you'll be going off somewheres like you always do in another half hour.
Well, what of it?
Couldn't you spend a little time with a child? He adores you. Can't you return a little bit of his affection?
Yeah, I guess you're right. He's a good kid. What do you say I take him to a movie this afternoon?
Oh, he'd love it.
All right, I'll do that. Where is he?
He's playing out front.
I'll go out and get him right away. We just got time for the second show.
Gee, Pop, that was a swell show.
Like it?
Yeah, boy, that place where the triggerman fights it out with the cops. Gee, that was exciting. Those cops were plenty brave, weren't they, Pop? Going in there against a machine gun?
Cops ain't so brave, Bobby.
Yeah, but in the picture...
There was 15 cops against one mug. That ain't very brave, is it?
No, I guess not. But I always thought...
Take it from your old man, Bobby. Cops ain't got no backbone.
Where are we going now, Pop?
To see a friend of mine. That is, if you can keep a secret.
What do you mean?
I don't think your mother would understand if you told her we came here.
Okay, I won't tell her.
Is that a promise?
Promise.
All right. Up the stairs with you. Here we are.
Daddy. Well, for the love of Mike, what's this?
This is Bobby, Edna. I thought you two ought to get acquainted.
Well, hello, Bobby.
Hello.
Come on in. Park yourself. I've got something out here the little boys like.
Hey, Pop, how come she called you Daddy?
Huh? Oh, you see, I'm like a father to her.
Yeah? Like you are to me?
Well, yeah, it's sort of.
Gee.
Here we are, Bobby. Some nice chocolate candies for you.
Gosh, thanks.
How about you, Daddy? Want a drink?
Next.
Of tea?
Yeah, I'll come out in the kitchen with you while you make it.
All right.
Here's some books with pictures in them, Bobby.
Thanks.
The idea of looking at that kid over here.
The old lady made me take him out to a movie, and I had to see you. Is everything okay?
What do you mean?
The bulls haven't been around, have they?
Why should they? I thought you had a foolproof system.
I have, but I'm still a little nervous. So long since I pulled a job.
Well, don't you worry, honey. I got all the stuff safely hidden away in my closet. Now, you better get that kid home to his mama before he gets wise. I'll see you later.
Okay. Well, Bobby, let's get started home.
No, I don't want to.
Why not?
I like it here. And I like Edna. She's prettier than Mom, ain't she, Pop?
Well, yes, I guess she is.
Of course, Mom's nicer, I guess. There ain't nobody nicer than Mom, is there, Pop?
Well, now, come on, Bobby. We're going home, I said.
San Francisco Police Department, burglary detail. Yeah? Yeah, I got the address. We'll send some men out right away. Come on, Terry, another one of those midnight burglaries.
1118. Is that the apartment number?
Yeah.
Oh, here it is, at the end of the hall.
Quiet, I say! Quiet! Good morning, gentlemen.
We're from the burglary squad.
Yes, I've been expecting you. Come in. Quiet, I say. Quiet now.
You certainly have a couple of wide-awake watchdogs there.
That's the mystery of this whole thing. You heard them just now when you rang the bell?
Yeah. I thought they'd tear us apart.
But they never woke while our apartment was being robbed.
Are you sure of that?
Positive. I was awakened by some drunk who had the wrong phone number, and as soon as the bell rang, the dogs began to bark. But there was no sound before that.
Hardly seems possible a man could work so quietly that he wouldn't wake a pair of police dogs.
Yeah, but apparently he did. I was going to shoot the dogs in the morning, but they seemed to be alert enough when you arrived. Perhaps you've saved their life.
No, just what have you lost?
Everything. All my wife's jewels, and even my billfold from the pocket of my trousers, which were hung up in the closet.
How many entrances are there to this apartment?
Just this door and the service door to the kitchen. It's still bolted.
No Jimmy marks on this door.
Was it locked?
Securely.
How about the windows? Did they go out on any fire escapes?
No, it's 11 stories down to the street.
And your burglar must have let himself in this door.
Well, he's a mighty slick worker to have gotten away with that.
Better have the fingerprint man sent up, Terry. Well, I'm getting a description of the stolen goods.
Right.
For months, such burglaries occur with exhausting regularity. Yet police can find no trace of the stolen goods in the pawn shops, nor can they discover a single fingerprint at the scene of the crime. All over the Bay District, Edwards carries on his one-man crime wave, while authorities can only wait for the day when he will attempt to unload his loot. And then, into the robbery squad one morning, comes an excited uniformed officer.
Captain, I got a burglary to report.
Where?
At my house.
What?
Yes, sir. And I think it's this mystery guy we can't get a line on. Same M.O., no prints, no Jimmy.
What'd he get?
Some jewelry and money and my gun.
Your gun?
Yes, sir, my gun. Here's the number of it. If he tries to sell that, we'll have a line on him.
You bet we will. Thanks for reporting this so promptly, McNulty. I'll have every pawn shop in town on the lookout for that gun within an hour.
A week later, the Western Empire Loan Company reports that the wanted gun has been pawned with them. Inspector Gable interviews the proprietor at once.
Hello, Inspector.
Hello, Abe. Let's see that police positive you called me about.
Sure, yes. Here it is.
74387. That's McNulty's gun, all right. When was it pawned?
I gave the fellow $6 for it this morning.
What did he look like?
Well, he was about 35 years old, I guess. A guy about 5'10", maybe. You know, sandy hair.
Any scars or other identifying marks?
Well, he looked sort of cockeyed in the right eye.
Cast in the right eye, eh?
Uh-huh.
What's his name?
Ralph Moore.
Address?
Mount Vernon Hotel.
Ever see him before?
Oh, sure. He's been selling stuff to me for a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff?
Oh, loose stones. He comes in every now and then with his diamonds or rubies or emeralds.
Why didn't you report this?
Well, you know, you never asked for a report on loose stones. You wanted a report on certain pieces of jewelry that was stolen.
Yeah, that's right. But loose stones. That gives me an idea why we haven't located any of this stuff before.
You mean he's breaking them up?
Sure. Peddling the stones one place and the melted gold and silver another. Pretty smart gag.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Abe. You keep your eyes open for this guy who calls himself Ralph Moore. The next time he comes in with some stones to sell, you tip me off and stall him until I get here.
Sure thing, Inspector. You can count upon me.
Several days go by during which police learn that Ralph Moore is unknown at the Mount Vernon Hotel. Then one morning, the proprietor of the pawn shop tips Inspector Goebel that the suspect is in his shop. While the officer rushes to the place, the pawnbroker stalls for time.
Well, it looks to me as though there's a bad flaw in this diamond.
You're nuts. That stone's perfect.
No, I don't think I could give you more than $25 for it.
$25?
Yeah.
Well, that piece of ice is worth $150.
Yeah, but how do I know it ain't hot?
Hot? Sure. And I told you I'm a jewelry broker. This stuff's okay.
The guy, Abe?
Yes, that's him.
Come on along, you.
What for?
We want to have a heart-to-heart talk with you down at headquarters. Now, what's your name?
Thomas Moore. And I'm a jewelry broker.
Yeah, so I heard you say. Where do you live?
The Mount Vernon Hotel.
You're lying on both counts, my friend. We've already checked that story. They never heard of you at the Mount Vernon.
Well, that's funny. I can't understand.
All right, now let's stop beating around the bush.
Listen, you guys ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah, we got a lot of interesting unmounted stones that you'll have to explain.
I can explain them. A guy gave them to me to sell.
Yeah, that's a likely story. I suppose he gave you that police positive to sell a week ago, too.
Yeah.
Who is this friend of yours?
You wouldn't want me to double-cross a pal, would you?
No, of course not.
Well, seeing as you're innocent, maybe you'll tell us your right name.
My name's Henry Edwards.
Henry Edwards, eh? Where do you live?
Out on Evergreen Avenue, 1625.
Fine. We'll just check on that story. Come on, Harrison. And say, Terry, don't let this bird sell you any hot emeralds while we're gone.
Don't worry.
Inspector Gable and his partner drive out to the address given them by Edwards. Mrs. Edwards knows all too well who they are when she answers the door.
Yes?
Does Henry Edwards live here?
Yes.
Are you Mrs. Edwards?
Yes. You're police officers, aren't you?
That's right.
What's he done now?
Beg pardon, ma'am? Oh, your husband's been in trouble before, eh?
Why, that is... no, I just thought he might be drunk or something.
No, ma'am. He isn't drunk.
Well, what is it you want?
We want to ask you some questions.
Very well.
Does your husband work?
Yes.
Where?
He works on the Embarcadero. Night shift.
Where exactly on the Embarcadero?
Why, he never did say.
Ain't likely he picked up them sparklers on one of the docks, Gable.
No. Mrs. Edwards, we just took your husband into custody. He had several $100s worth of unmounted stones on him. Have you any idea where he got them?
Why, no, I haven't.
He never discussed them with you? Never showed them to you?
No.
Mrs. Edwards, do you know anyone who is associated with your husband?
No. If he had any friends, he never brought them around here.
Would you have any objections if we searched your house?
Wouldn't do me any good if I had, would it? Come on in.
The two officers thoroughly search the Edwards home, find nothing. At last, convinced of the woman's innocence in the case, they leave the house. At the curb, they find young Bobby eagerly inspecting the police car.
Well, young fella, you think you'll buy it?
You're cops, ain't you?
We're detectives.
Oh, Dick, huh? My pop says cops ain't got no backbone.
Oh, he does he? How does he know?
I don't know, but if he says so, it's so.
Where do you live?
In there.
Oh, then you must be Henry Edwards' little boy.
Yeah, I'm Bobby. Listen, make the siren go, will you?
Say, Bobby, what's your pop do? Does he work?
Yeah, down on the dock. Let me see your gun, will you?
Sure. Take a look.
Gee, it's a big one.
Mustn't touch it, Bobby. Might go off.
Yeah?
Sure. Ever see your pop with a gun like this, Bobby?
Who's your pop hang out with, Bobby?
I don't know.
Doesn't anybody ever come over to the house?
Nope.
Doesn't your pop ever go to visit anyone?
Sometimes. Make the siren go, will you?
In a minute. Who's he go to visit?
Well, I went over to Edna's with him once.
Edna? Who's she?
Well, she's sort of a sister of mine, I guess, because she calls Pop Daddy.
Oh, she does she?
Yeah, she's awful nice. She gave me candy, only Pop told me not to tell Mom we went over there, and I didn't.
That was very wise, Bobby.
Just where does this Edna live?
Oh, it isn't far from the movies.
What movies?
The one's over by the park.
What's the street address?
I don't know.
Well, what's Edna's last name?
I don't know. Make the siren go, will you?
Hey, do you think you'd recognize Edna's place if you saw it again, Bobby?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, how would you like to take a ride in the car?
Will you make the siren go?
Sure.
Gee, let's go.
Although the police car starts its journey with sirens screaming, it enters the neighborhood where Edna lives in silence. Bobby, although disappointed that the officers have turned off the exciting sound, leads them directly to Edna's apartment. As they are walking down the hall, the inspector pauses.
Which door is hers, Bobby?
That one across the hall.
Well, I'll tell you what let's do. You knock on the door, and Mr. Harrison and I'll keep out of sight, and we'll surprise her.
Okay.
Come on, Harrison. Keep your eyes open. There may be some other mugs in there.
Right.
Hello, Edna.
Why, hello, Bobby. Where's your dad?
Why, I don't...
He brought some friends with him this time instead, ma'am. I'm Inspector Gable of the police department, and this is Inspector Harrison.
Why, Bobby, you little think.
Huh? What's that mean, Edna?
I'll show you what it means, you little brat.
Yeah, take it easy, ma'am.
Why, gee, Edna, don't be mad at me. I ain't done nothing. These cops took me for a ride, and they blew the siren for me. And I told them how nice you were, so they wanted to come and visit you. Got any candy today, Edna?
Oh, you...
Yeah, not so loud, ma'am. No, I think we better all go inside. Now, you wouldn't want your neighbors to know you was entertaining the law, would you?
Okay, come on in. Now, what's the beef?
You probably read in the papers about these midnight burglaries that have been pulled for the last 6 months.
I don't remember anything about it.
Well, we picked up Henry Edwards with a pocket full of loose stones. Now, he's the same man described to us who pawned a revolver which was stolen from a police officer's home recently. We've gone through Mr. Edwards' house and found nothing. Our junior policeman, young Bobby here, tells us...
I ain't no junior policeman. When I grow up, I'm going to be another Dillinger.
Huh? You better take my advice and change your mind about that, young fellow. Anyway, Bobby tells us you're a pretty good friend of Edwards. Now, is that right?
I don't know anything. Say, what's that big flat-foot pal of yours doing in the kitchen? Get out of there, you. You ain't got no search warrant.
I don't need one. Just found a drawer full of watch movements and ring shanks in there, Gable.
Yeah, I thought this was probably the plant. Well, Edna?
What am I supposed to do, break out in a cold sweat?
You might help us by telling us all you know.
You don't seem to need any help. You seem to be pretty good at finding out the answers for yourself.
Say, Edna, how about some candy? You got some.
If I did, my little darling, I'd certainly give you a piece filled with strychnine.
Confronted with the evidence against him, Edwards quickly confesses and eagerly brags about his prowess as a burglar. He's brought to trial, pleads guilty, and is sentenced to Folsom Penitentiary for the term prescribed by law. Just before he leaves for the prison, he is permitted to say goodbye to his son.
Bobby, the officers told me what you did.
Gee, Pop, I didn't know. Wouldn't have said anything if I knew.
I don't blame you, Bobby. I had this jolt coming to me. But, Bobby, there's something I want to say to you. The inspector said you told him you wanted to be like Dillinger when you grew up.
Yeah.
It's a bum steer, kid. I know I've never been much of a father to you, but you believe what I tell you, don't you?
Sure I do, Pop.
All right, then. Listen to me. Never break the law, no matter what. You can't win, Bobby. I know. I've been breaking the law for years, and I've been paying the hard way. Get those screwy ideas about gangsters out of your head. They're a bunch of yellow rats. They ain't heroes. I know.
You mean gangsters ain't brave?
No.
But you said once that coppers ain't brave either.
Well, I was a little off on that one, Bobby. Coppers have got it all over gangsters. Stick on the right side.
Sure, Pop. I ain't gonna be a gangster.
Oh, and, Bobby.
Yes, Pop?
Don't say ain't on account of its bum English.
The young actor who tonight played the part of Little Bobby is a full-fledged member of Rio Grande's Junior Police Department. He is now wearing a glittering badge, a Sam Brown officer's belt, and has a gun that flashes fire. He has a complete scientific G-Man outfit at home, all furnished free by Rio Grande. Every boy and girl can have the same complete set of 15 free gifts. Just ask the independent dealer in your neighborhood who sells Rio Grande cracked gasoline. And here is a timely warning for every motorist. It's time to change to a lighter motor oil. Don't guess which grade your car needs. Go to your Rio Grande dealer. He has been trained in Sinclair scientific lubrication. He knows exactly which grade of oil or grease should be applied to every moving part of your car. And he is skilled in the correct application of the Sinclair law of lubrication, the first truly scientific method of ensuring correct automobile lubrication. You'll need gasoline tomorrow. Drive into your Rio Grande dealer. Fill up with cracked gasoline and ask how the Sinclair law of lubrication can reduce operating costs of your car.
Calling all cars, attention all cars, San Francisco Police calling all cars, cancellation broadcast 127. Suspect in this case now in custody, that's all.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you. Calling All Cars, a copyrighted program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars, attention all cars, broadcast 128. All cars assist the Bunko Squad in cleaning up a gang of swindlers operating as bookmakers. That's all. Rolls and
Tonight's case tells of the activities of the Los Angeles Police Department. And it certainly is an active department, with nearly 1,000 police cars, ambulances, motorcycles, and other motorized emergency equipment in almost continuous use. All these engines operate on Rio Grande cracked gasoline exclusively. Add to this huge fleet the number of emergency cars operated by Oakland, Berkeley, Maricopa County, Arizona, and the many other cities and counties using Rio Grande cracked, and you easily see that many millions of gallons of this gasoline are used in government and law enforcement work. Naturally, purchases of this huge quantity are made as a result of careful tests of all available brands of gasoline. And it is convincing proof of the superiority of Rio Grande cracked gasoline that these many contracts are awarded year after year to this company. Rio Grande proudly points to the undeniable fact that more police and emergency cars are powered with Rio Grande cracked gasoline wherever it is sold than any other brand, as proof that you cannot buy a finer or more efficient gasoline for your car than Rio Grande cracked, the gasoline that gives you police car performance. And now it is our pleasure to present Chief James E. Davis of the Los Angeles Police Department. Chief Davis.
Good evening, friends. 2 weeks ago tonight, on this program, I urged the adoption of universal fingerprinting, not only as an aid to law enforcement agencies, but also as a protection to the law-abiding citizen. Aided by a cooperative city council, we are making unique strides in Los Angeles toward deterring crime and protecting the citizen. What is probably the only municipal legislation of its kind in the world goes into effect next Thursday, May 14, when the new ordinance requiring the registration of ex-convicts goes into effect. Thereafter, any person with a criminal record will be guilty of a misdemeanor if they have not registered with the police department. This ordinance is not to be mistaken as placing a stigma upon the individual who, having broken the law in the past and paid his debt to society, wishes to remain in peace. The police department has no intention of annoying these people, nor of making public the information they obtain. But this required registration of former criminals will discourage the underworld from immigrating into Los Angeles from other points, will prove a crime deterrent to those who might possibly be planning future evil, and will be an immeasurable protection to the law-abiding group of the citizenry. If such a system had been in force at the time the case you will hear tonight occurred, several unfortunate victims would not have lost their life savings to a group of shrewd crooks.
Our story tonight goes back 24 years to the early part of 1913. In the 5th Street Depot in Los Angeles, Benjamin Fowler, visiting farmer from Mascouta, Illinois, stands absorbed in the timetables to the beach when he feels a tap on his back. Turning, he finds a total stranger facing him.
I hope you'll forgive me for taking the liberty of speaking. I noticed you're wearing an Oddfellows button. And seeing as how I'm an odd fella, too, I thought I'd introduce myself.
Why, sure. Of course. I'm glad you did.
Fella gets mighty lonesome here in the city, not knowing anyone. So when I noticed your button, I sort of felt like I'd run into an old friend.
Well, I might say the same thing. I'm a stranger here in town, too. Fowler is the name. Ben Fowler.
Fowler? Well, mine's Harold Reed.
Glad to know you, Mr. Reed. But you don't seem to know the hand clap.
Oh, it's been so long since I went to lodge that I sort of got out of the habit. You know how it is.
Oh, sure. I was kind of surprised for a minute, though.
Well, where you from, Fowler?
Mascouta, Illinois.
Mascouta, eh? You got a farm back there?
A small one.
Are you out here for a visit, or are you figuring on staying?
Well, I'm not just certain. I've been sort of halfway thinking about bringing the missus out here and settling down, but I don't know.
Great little place, L.A. I wouldn't live anywhere else now that I've found the way to live.
You know the place pretty well?
Pretty well. Say, I was just on my way down to Venice to have a little fun. Maybe you'd like to join me.
Why, I was thinking of going to Venice myself. I'd be glad to have the company.
You got anything particular to do when you get there?
No. Thought I'd sort of browse around and see the sights.
Well, how'd you like to take a little flyer on a sure thing?
A flyer? How do you mean?
Make a little bet on the ponies. Double your money.
I don't guess I'd want to do that. I don't know anything about horse racing. I wouldn't have any idea how to bet.
You don't have to if you really want to get in on something hot. I'm not depending on luck to win for me. I got a sure thing.
You mean a tip?
Better than that. Tips can go wrong. This can't. Well, maybe you're not interested.
Well, of course. If it's a sure thing, that is, if you think I can play and not lose too much, I guess it would be sort of fun.
Of course it's fun. I don't suppose you'd be sore if you happened to win a bit, would you?
Can't say that I would.
Well, in that case, there's nothing holding us. Let's go.
Boarding a beach-bound electric car, farmer Ben Fowler listens with avid interest as his newfound friend explains how his system always works, why he can be sure of winning. Looks forward to an afternoon of profit. Arriving at Venice, Reed leads the way to a small saloon, pilots his companion up a flight of stairs into a small, smoke-filled room, introduces him.
Eddie, this is Mr. Fowler. He's an old friend of mine from Illinois.
Oh, pleased to meet you, Mr. Fowler.
How do you do?
Would you like to see how they run things here, Fowler?
Why, yes, I would.
Well, here's the phones. These are connected directly to the various tracks where the races are run.
Say, there's a lot of them, aren't there?
There has to be in order that we... Or rather, the fellows who operate this place can keep track of the times and the placing of the various races.
You going to take a little flyer this afternoon, Mr. Reed?
You bet. You don't think I'd miss a sure thing like that, do you?
I wouldn't think so. How about you, Mr. Fuller?
Well, I can't see where it'd do any harm to make a little bet. Not too big, of course.
Any old amount. It's up to you. The more you play, the more you win.
Well, are there races going on now?
Sure thing. Coming up in about 5 minutes.
You can put me down for $40, Eddie.
Right.
How about you, Fowler?
Well, I wasn't going to go quite so high at first, but... All right, I'll bet the same. And now what do we do?
Just put up the money and let Eddie here handle the rest.
You mean we don't have to pick a horse or anything? I thought that was the way...
Well, that is the way it's done at an ordinary bookmaker's. But this is different.
All right. Here's my 40.
And mine. How about it, Eddie? They about ready to go?
About. I'm getting them on the phone.
Now, you see, Fowler, he talks to them direct at the track in New York. And from there he finds out what horse is fixed to win. Then he puts our money on that horse, and it's all set. We win and pocket our money.
I didn't know all horse races were fixed.
Well, they're not always. But you see, they're putting a bill through the legislature in New York that'll make horse racing illegal. So the men behind it decided to fix the rest of the races in order that they could make sure bets, get their money back before the bill went through. We just happened to be a couple of the lucky ones on the inside.
Yeah, that's pretty smart, all right. Yeah, I can see how it would work.
Hello? What's that? Playboy in the 5th. Yeah, I got it. Okay. Check with you a little later. So long.
You got it?
All set. They're putting the money up now. Race starts in about a minute.
You know, I'm really excited over all this.
Yeah, that's all right, Fowler. This being your first time, you would be. But you won't be after you see the way it works.
I guess that's a track. Excuse me a minute. Hello? Yeah? Okay, I'll stay on the phone. They've started the race. I'll know the answer in a minute now.
As if you didn't know the answer already. Eddie's a great one for joking, Fowler.
I hope he gets the right answer from that thing. I still can't believe that making money is this easy.
Don't worry.
Oh, I'm not worrying, really. It's just that, oh, well...
Hello? Yeah? Playboy it is. Okay. Thanks. I'll call you back in time for the next. So long. Well, gents, there you are. $80 to you, Mr. Reed, and 80 more to Mr. Fowler.
Gosh, you really mean it? This is all mine? I want it just like that?
Sure, what'd I tell you? It's a cinch.
Well, say, can we play some more? I mean, I don't want to seem greedy, but, well, I thought if we could, I might try it again.
Sure we can. This is only small stuff anyway. Just as soon as I can get some securities I own turned into cash, I'm going to make a killing.
And these other gentlemen don't care? I mean, they don't mind our taking the money?
Of course not. They're getting theirs. That's all that matters to them. Here's the 80 back, Eddie. Play it the next, will you?
Sure enough.
And here's mine. I want to play all 80 of it, too.
That's the spirit, Mr. Fowler. You'll be in a big money pretty soon. That is, if things don't close down before you can raise the dough.
Hey, what do you mean?
Well, you see, there's only a little time left for us to operate. If you had a good lump of money to play now, you could really make something.
I see.
I'll have mine tomorrow, and then it's easy street for me.
Mr. Reed, that is to say, if I was to raise a good bit of cash by tomorrow or the next day, do you suppose I could place it here?
Sure, why not? Or better still, if you have the money in a bank somewhere, it'll take time to get it out. Well, why not write a check?
Would that be all right?
I don't see why not. How about it, Eddie? You'll accept Mr. Fowler's check, won't you?
Sure. Well, I tell you what. I'd kind of like to sleep on the idea. Suppose I let you know tomorrow, huh? Is that all right with you?
Certainly. Then maybe we can get up a pool and make a lot more. I'll have about $3,500 tomorrow. How about you, Eddie? You want to make a pool?
If Mr. Fowler here decides to go in on it, I might.
Well, I'll think about it, and we can talk it over tomorrow.
Fine.
There's a track again. Yeah? Okay. Yeah? 80 on it twice. That's right. Yeah, so long. And that fixes that. How do you feel, Mr. Fowler?
I don't know. I guess. I mean, it's too good to be true. I must be dreaming.
But the bewildered Fowler is not dreaming. When he leaves the little room that evening, he has more than $300 in his pocket. 260 more than his original bet. That night he finds sleep impossible. Strange dreams absorb his mind. Dreams of sudden wealth beyond his wildest imaginings. A panorama of fleeting thoughts loom in his sleepless brain. $5,000 brings $10,000. $10,000 brings $20,000. And as sleep at last overpowers him, his decision is made. Early the next morning at breakfast, he finds his friend Harold Reed waiting for him. Surprised, he learns that Reed has moved to the same hotel to be closer, as he puts it, to his only friend. And after a large platter of bacon and eggs, the two men set off for the little room in Venice, there to make their fortune. We find them a little later talking with Eddie.
And you're not making any mistake, I can tell you that. Well, figure it out for yourself.
I did. All night.
Well, and you don't have to be told, I guess. You're smart enough to see a gold mine when it's in front of you.
Well, how about this pool idea, Eddie? Mr. Fowler here says he's on. How about you?
Sure thing.
Well, how much money are you going to put up?
Every dime I got. $1,500.
Good enough. I got mine here. That is, I got a check for $3,500.
I've been wondering. You see, gentlemen, it occurred to me that to sort of save time and all that, I might bet my limit the first time. That is, of course, if it's all right with you.
Sure. With me, anyway.
Me, too. How much did you figure on?
Well, say about 5,000.
5,000, eh? Well, I don't see anything to stop you. Shall we pull it?
Fine.
Good. Suppose while you make out your check, Mr. Fowler, I contact the tracks and see what we can hit on. You'll find a pen right over there on that table if you need one.
Thanks.
I'll get on the phone. Hello, Belmont Park? This is Eddie in Venice, California. Yeah. What's on the boards for the next race? Yeah. Okay, swell. Put 10 grand on the nose. That's right, on the nose. Okay, Bill, I'll stand by. So long.
Here's my check. I think you'll find it all in proper shape.
Here's mine, Eddie.
Fair enough. We'll be hearing from the boys out the track any time now. And then, well, I know what I'm going to do with my dough.
How about you, Fowler? You going to go back to the farm and settle down?
Well, of course I had thought of that. But somehow, well, there's a lot of places that I've never been to. This might be a good time to go traveling.
That's the spirit. Easy come, easy go. That's the way I feel about it.
That's it. Eddie speaking. Yeah? By a length, eh? Good enough.
Did they, did we win?
Sure, just like I said. It was a cinch.
$10,000. And just for doing nothing.
Yep. This is the way to make the money, Mr. Fowler. Of course, we'll have to check back on this draft of yours, just see that it's right. And then it's 10 grand for you.
There's no doubt about the check being good, is there, Fowler?
Oh, no. No, of course not, huh? No, of course not.
Good enough. I'll take it in and have the boys contact the bank in Illinois. As soon as we get an okay, you're all set.
Well, what do you say, Fowler? It looks to me like we got something to celebrate about. Let's have a drink.
And at about the same time as the gullible Mr. Fowler is mortgaging his farm to play the ponies, Lieutenant Edward C. King of the Los Angeles Detective Force receives an urgent call from Chief Sebastian. In the chief's office, they are greeted by Ed Earl, owner of a local newspaper, Frank R. Baker, special prosecutor, and a group of Los Angeles businessmen.
Ed, I've been telling these gentlemen about you. I've told them that of all the men I know, you are the one to do the job we have to do. You know most of these gentlemen, I imagine. Mr. Earl, Mr. Baker.
I think I know all of them, Chief.
Good. Now, here's the idea. This department has been under criticism for a long time about our failure to wipe out the bunco artists operating here in Los Angeles. We've been on the fire. It's getting too hot. It's got to stop.
Yes, sir.
And you're the man that's going to do the stopping.
Well, that's fine with me, Chief. But how?
By taking the men you want, men you know, and can depend on, and busting up every place about which you have the slightest suspicion. And before you say what I know you're about to say, let me tell you this. We've got the one thing we've needed for a long time. A group of citizens who'll stand behind us, who won't let politics interfere with justice, and a prosecutor who'll bring in a conviction every time we can get the proof.
In that case, sir, I'm ready to start any time.
I knew that would be your answer. Well, gentlemen, are you satisfied?
If they can bring them in, I'll be satisfied.
And I'll send them up. I can promise you that.
All right, then. It's all yours, King. It's directly on your shoulders from now on. You'll be relieved from any other duty.
Thank you, sir.
Thank me when you bring him in.
Realizing that his new assignment is no easy one, Lieutenant King picks his men carefully. While his squad places every dive in the city under surveillance, King settles down to the routine job of checking mug pictures, trying to run down the names of the big shots behind the ring. And just 3 days later...
Lieutenant King, bunco detail.
This is Robbins, Lieutenant. I've got something.
Good. What is it?
I've been covering a spot in Venice, a little pool hall and saloon. I heard a couple of men talking this afternoon about a fellow named Fowler that was being taken for all he had.
Excellent, Robbins. What else?
Well, I didn't hear much, but I think the gang has a joint around here somewhere. One of those fake bookie places.
Now, listen. You stick right there and see if you can get any more dope. Make friends with the men you overheard if you can. Pretend to have lots of money. Anything.
Yes, sir.
Don't muff, Robbins. This is the first lead I've had yet.
Yes, sir?
Fowler, eh? Fowler. That's not too common a name.
Reasoning that the bunco victim probably has money and is a stranger, Detective King sends his squad searching through downtown hotels. 2 fruitless days pass. And then in a hotel on 5th Street, Lieutenant King and his partner, Lieutenant Hawtrey, locate their man. The clerk at the desk points Fowler out as he steps from the lobby into the street. The officers follow him. For an hour, they doggedly shadow their man through downtown streets.
Well, this is the doggonedest chase we've ever gone on. He's walked halfway across town, and now here we are practically back where we started.
If he goes back to that hotel and we've done all this hiking for nothing, well, I'll just...
Relax.
Huh?
Relax.
Hey, wait a minute. He's going in that bank.
Oh, what the devil?
No, he's stopping in the doorway.
Come on, in the store entrance here.
Yeah. Looks like he's waiting for someone.
That's it. Maybe we're in luck after all.
He's looking at his watch.
Jim, look. That fellow going toward him. I'll bet my last dime that he's the one Fowler's waiting for.
You're right, Ed. They're talking to each other.
Come on. We're going to pick him up.
Right.
Of course I haven't. What do you think I am?
Well, you can't tell.
Pardon me, but isn't your name Fowler? Benjamin Fowler?
Yes.
Well, we want to talk to you and your friend.
Say, what is this?
Stick your hands out, you.
Who, me?
Yes, you, and make
Hey,
it
what are you
fast.
doing with all that?
There. That'll hold you for a while. Now, Mr. Fowler, I wouldn't advise you to try a run-out, because my partner and I have a habit of shooting people who try to get away. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Say, what is all this? What's the idea of these cops?
What's your name?
What's that to you?
All right, never mind the formalities. I imagine you'll tell us when you spent a little time in jail. You fellas usually do.
Now, look here. I don't know what this man has done, but I can assure you that I had nothing whatever to do with it.
David, Mr. Fowler, if you answer our questions at headquarters, you've got nothing to worry about, which is more than I can say for your friend here. Now, Mr. Fowler, suppose we begin at the beginning. What's your friend's name?
Well, I don't know that I should tell you if he
now,
doesn't
look, Fowler,
know.
you might as well know right now as later. You're just a sucker, and you're being taken by this guy here, or whatever his name is. How much money have you lost?
Why, I haven't really lost any money. That is, I was going to get it back.
Oh, yes, of course. You still don't know what you're up against, eh, Fowler? Well, I'll tell you. I don't know whether it's too late for you, but this gentleman sitting here who refuses to give his name happens to be a member of a gang of bunco artists. Do you know what bunco artists are?
Well, I don't exactly, but
well, I can tell you very quickly. They operate on people like you, people with money, who haven't any better sense than to believe their wild stories of get-rich-quick schemes.
I guess I knew all the time it was too good to be true.
Sure. Now, what's this fellow's name?
Reed. Harold Reed.
That's your right name?
Sure it is, officer. But you got me dead wrong. I haven't got anything to do with any gang.
No?
No. Now, look. Suppose you and I step into the next room for a minute. I'll tell you all about it.
All right. Keep Mr. Fowler company, will you, Hawley?
Sure. Sit down, Mr.
We'll be
Fowler.
back in a minute. Come along, Mr. Reed. In here. Now, how about it?
Now, look here. You look like a good fellow to me. The sort of a man that sees things in the right light. Suppose we talk business.
For instance?
Well, here. Here's $1,800 in nice, cool, green notes. You take that. Tell the boys you made a mistake and let me out of here. How about it?
You wouldn't be offering to bribe me, would you?
Now, what do you think?
I think I've had about enough of this fooling around. Now, suppose you just elevate your hands and let me look you over.
You're making a mistake. I'll have you broken for this.
Well, I'll take the chance. Let's see what you've got. Telegrams. These should prove interesting. And a wallet. That all? All right. You can put your hands down. Come on.
You won't get very far with this. The boys will get me out of here before morning.
Sure, I know. All right. Sit down over there and behave yourself. Now, let's see. If I'm not mistaken, these wires refer to you, Mr. Fowler. Not very complimentary either. Let's see who they're from. Burns. Burns. Holly, I've got it. You remember Blackie Burns?
Yeah, we never could pin anything on him.
Right, but I think these telegrams will make a difference in all that. In fact, if I'm not very far wrong, all we have to do is find Mr. Burns, and we'll have the man behind this whole gang.
A few days in jail, and Reed finally breaks, admits to the name of Rial, and tells the whole story. Fowler, when faced with the cold facts, confesses to King that he has spent his last cent on bets, that his entire bankroll, including the mortgage in his farm, has disappeared, that he had been urged to bet his winnings after collecting his $10,000 and that he had lost them. And King, leaving him a broken man, built of every dime he owned, starts out after the elusive leader of the gang, Blackie Burns. After checking on Burns' movements over the past few years, King learns that he owns a large estate in the San Fernando Valley. King and a handful of men search the place thoroughly, but find no sign of Burns himself. Months go by, and Burns does not appear. King receives a tip that Burns has been seen back on the ranch, that he has driven one of his ranch hands off the place, threatening to kill him with a shotgun. Enlisting the cooperation of Detective William Ingram, Lieutenant King starts for the ranch early the next morning. At dawn, the two men stake out in the high brush 100 yards from the front door of the ranch house and settle down to wait for some sign of Burns.
This may be another wild goose chase, Bill, but I'm going to sit here if it takes a month. I want this Burns fellow.
So I gathered. You've wanted him for a long time.
Yeah, but this time we've got all we need on him.
Hey, Ed, look over there. Someone's coming out the door.
Yeah, a woman. Mrs. Burns.
She's given the landscape a thorough once-over. What do you suppose is up?
Maybe Burns is going to try a break.
Hey, Ed, look.
Yeah, I see. Burns, all right. He's kissing her goodbye.
Should we rush him?
No, let him get away from the house, and we'll take no chance of his giving us the slip. I don't know where he hides in that house, but I know he was there when we searched it, and we couldn't find hide nor hair of him.
Hey, look. He's coming right toward us.
Good. Watch yourself now. When he gets close, nab him.
Right.
I hope he hasn't any of his boys watching him. We'd make swell targets from that house.
You said it.
Here he comes. Let's take him now. Stick him up, Burns.
Where the devil did you come from?
Never mind that. Stick up your hands. Yeah, that's better. Frisk him, Bill.
Right.
This is one on me, I guess. I didn't figure you were anywhere around here, King.
Oh, you know me.
Sure. I know you all right. Matter of fact, I was so close to you when you were searching the house once that I could have touched you.
Yeah, I knew you were in there all right. But I'll have to admit I didn't know just where. Would you mind telling me now that it's all over?
Not at all. You know the big fireplace in the front room? The one you kept crawling in?
Yeah?
Well, there's a little panel that slides in the wall there.
And every time you stuck your big fat head in that fireplace, I could have opened it and sunk a piece of lead pipe into your skull. It was an awful temptation. Blackie Burns and Rial, his assistant, were tried in the Los Angeles Superior Court and found guilty of fraud, violating the horse racing laws, and were sentenced to San Quentin. The first two men to be sent to the penitentiary by the Bunco detail, and Fowler, the victim, returned to his farm in Illinois, a sadder but wiser man.
Thank you, Chief Davis. Ladies and gentlemen, the Junior Police Department of the Rio Grande Oil Company now has nearly 100,000 members among the boys and girls of California, Arizona, and Nevada. These boys and girls have junior police badges, guns with Sam Brown uniform belt and pistol holster, scientific fingerprint outfits, detective microscopes, and many other items of G-man and detective equipment. All these articles are free, given away by the Rio Grande cracked gasoline dealer in your neighborhood. Ask him to enroll you in Rio Grande's Junior Police Department so you can get all these free gifts. If there is a new car in your family, you should know that motor oil and lubrication requirements have changed radically in the last few years. Rio Grande has trained its independent service station operators in the exact and correct uses of Sinclair oils and greases, according to the infallible Sinclair law of lubrication. Take your car to your Rio Grande station and look over the Sinclair service manual, which gives last-minute instructions, flashed direct from the factories, covering every part of every car. Sinclair has grown into one of the world's largest manufacturers of lubricants, and your Rio Grande cracked gasoline dealer is equipped to provide Sinclair's complete scientific lubrication service for your car. It costs no more to get Sinclair scientific lubrication.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars, attention all cars, to cancellation broadcast 128. Suspects in this case are now in custody. That's all. Rolls and questions.
The latest issue of the Calling All Cars News is now available wherever Rio Grande cracked gasoline is sold. Ask for your free copy. This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company. Calling All Cars, a copyrighted program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Calling all cars, attention all Fresno County Sheriff's cars. Be on the lookout for the following described men. Number 1, 35 years of age, sallow complexion, wearing a cap, a brown suit. Number 2, around 25, slender build, thin face, wearing a light cap, blue coveralls. These men held up and robbed the First State Bank of Clovis of $30,000 an hour ago.
In gathering the facts for these true crime broadcasts, executives of the Rio Grande Oil Company personally contact the police officers involved, so many of whom are using Rio Grande cracked gasoline in their daily work. in Oakland, in Berkeley, in Los Angeles, and in many other cities and counties of California and Arizona. These investigators have found why Rio Grande cracked gasoline is specified exclusively for all emergency cars. These cities and counties have made repeated tests of the many gasolines available and have yet failed to find any gasoline which can outperform Rio Grande cracked. In all features, quick starting, acceleration, speed, power, it has no superior. And yet with all these advantages, it costs no more to buy, and actually costs less per mile. Official records prove these claims, and that's why more police and emergency cars use Rio Grande cracked wherever it is sold than any other gasoline. Try it in your car. Get a sample of police car performance, and you too will acknowledge that Rio Grande cracked gasoline gives you the most for your money. Now it is our great pleasure to present Sheriff George Overholt of Fresno County. Sheriff Overholt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There's an interesting parallel to be drawn between the psychology of the lawbreaker and the psychology of his eternal enemy, the police officer. It could be summed up in one word: patience. The average criminal does not possess this golden virtue because he is motivated primarily by one vice, greed. When we are pitting our forces against the lawbreaker who has patience, then we have a really difficult time. But in the case you're about to hear, a typical case from our files, it was the patience of the police officer which destined from the beginning that the criminal should be caught. For the police officer dedicated to but one aim, the eradication of crime, has his entire life, if necessary, to accomplish the solution of a single case. The criminal must commit further crime to satisfy his insatiable greed. Lacking the patience and foresight of the forces of society, he sooner or later walked into a trap such as the patience of my colleague O.J. King wove in this evening's case.
February 5th, 1924. Two men enter the First State Bank of Clovis, California. Mr. Howinson, the only employee in the bank, turns to his window.
Yes, sir? Change this 20 for me, will you?
Yes, sir. How would you like it?
10 and a 5 for some silver.
Right away.
All right, go on in, Bert. Through that door by the window.
Okay. Here we are. 10.
Stick up your hands.
This is a hold-up, mister. Tie his hands behind his back, Bert. I got him covered.
Right.
Now, look here,
If you know what's good for you, shut up. We ain't aching to do any killing, but we will if it's necessary.
There, he won't slip out of that knot.
Good. Now get back there in the vault, you. Go on.
You're not going to lock me up in there, are you?
Get back there, I said. All the way at the back. Okay, Bert. Empty those cash drawers.
Right. Want these traveler checks and bonds?
I want everything we can carry.
Okay. There, that's got it all.
Okay, let's go. We're going to lock you in, pal, so you won't get any harm.
No, please don't do that.
They'll find you sooner or later.
Hey, Tom. Here comes somebody crossing the street. He looks like he's coming here.
Kirk, get over by the door. When he opens it, stick your gut in his ribs.
Okay.
Stay him up, mister.
What's going on here?
What's it look like, a tea party?
Look here, I'm the vice president of this bank.
Well, that's just dandy. Now get over there by that filing cabinet and face the wall.
Now, look here, my man, do you realize...
Get over it quick. Now, if you're smart, you'll stay right there for 5 minutes. Come on, Bert. Oh, and you'd better unlock that vault sometime this afternoon. Your pal's in there.
The excited descriptions that Howinson and Rayburn give Sheriff William F. Jones of Fresno County and Deputy Sheriff O.J. King are incomplete and confused. All they discovered in Clovis that they can help them is capturing the robbers, is that they have escaped in the black touring car. Then the following day, the owner of a garage in Fresno informs the sheriff that there's a suspicious car at his place. Sheriff Jones, accompanied by Deputy Sheriff King, visit the garage. Listen to the attendant's story.
I was nosing around this car, and I found a half-full sack of roofing nails in the back and a bullet. And I remembered reading about that bank holdup yesterday and how the guys that pulled it threw roofing nails up behind them. and I thought maybe this was the car.
Which one is it?
That black Chandler over there, Sheriff.
Let's look at it, King.
You haven't touched anything in the car, have you?
Oh, no, sir. I left everything just the way I found it.
Good.
Take down that license number, King.
Yes, sir. 365305. Did you notice, Sheriff, that those plates are wired on instead of bolted?
Yeah, so they are. Probably stolen. Here are the roofing nails in the shell.
And the gas can is missing from those canteens on the running board.
Yes, and it looks as though the car was recently painted black. Pretty bad job. You can tell it was originally blue. Say, who left this car here?
Well, a fella drove it in yesterday about 1:30 in the afternoon.
An hour before the bank robbery.
And he said he wanted to store it for a couple of days.
What was his name?
He signed T.T. Jones on the register.
Ever see him before?
No, sir.
What'd he look like?
Well, he was kind of tall and slender, and he was dark complexioned.
Think you'd know him again if you saw him?
Oh, sure.
But a roundup of suspicious, tall, slender, dark men proves fruitless. The license plates are checked through Sacramento and proven to be stolen, and the motor number of the car shows it also to have been taken without the permission of its owner. Thus, the identity of the Clovis bandits remains a mystery for 2 weeks, and then a prying citizen, not content to mind his own business, carries a suspicious tale to the sheriff.
It's been more than a week now since I seen anybody in that house next door to me, Sheriff. I noticed that the back door was wide open, but the house looked deserted. So I finally decided to investigate. I went over there this morning.
What'd you find?
Well, those people who live there must have left in a hurry. 'Cause there's dishes still in the kitchen sink and water in the bathtub. Even a meal on the table still, as though they'd left in the middle of dinner.
Well, I guess we'd better go over there and have a look.
To the mystery house on Roosevelt Avenue goes Sheriff Jones, accompanied by Deputy Sheriff King and several city policemen. While King investigates the garage in back, Sheriff Jones and the officers go over the house.
Here's some receipts in this desk drawer, Sheriff.
Let me see them. Well, rent receipt dated January 29th. Made out to Mrs. Joseph J. Ray. And gas and light receipts for the same person.
Hey, Sheriff, I forgot something.
What?
Look here, what I found in the dresser drawer in the bedroom. The clean laundry.
Any marks on it?
Just a minute, I'll see. Yeah, there's a mark on this shirt. 6P788. And the same marks on these handkerchiefs. And here's a couple of towels with the words Casa Moreno embroidered on them.
Well, there's nothing in the law that says tenants can't move out of a house and leave some handkerchiefs and towels behind them.
Say, maybe they were ducking the rent.
No, according to this receipt, the rent isn't due for another week or 10 days.
Well, it looks funny to me.
I don't see anything for us to do but notify the landlady that her house is empty. Just leave that stuff in the drawer, Ben. Maybe they'll come back for it.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff, I think we stumbled onto something.
Yeah, what?
Listen, remember that car you went over, the black Chandler that'd been used in the Clovis Bank job?
Yes.
Well, that car was painted black in the garage out back.
What?
Yes, sir. There's a couple of half-empty cans of black paint out there. And also the curtains that were missing from that Chandler. And, oh, yeah, the gasoline can that was missing from that set on the running board.
Well, that's different. Get that laundry out of the drawer, Ben, and collect those receipts. It's only a matter of tracing the marks on this laundry, King, and we'll have the identity of the bank robbers.
But the matter does not prove as simple as the sheriff had sanguinely anticipated. For weeks, the police of San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles, Portland, and Seattle assist the Fresno authorities in searching for the laundry mark 6P788. Sheriff Jones assigns Deputy Sheriff King to full time on this colossal task. The services of Phil Giac, a detective specializing in bank jobs, is also enlisted. Together, King and Giac interview laundry after laundry. Finally, weeks after the holdup, they enter the Snow White Laundry, a small establishment in Oakland.
Yes, sir. Did you have some laundry here?
No, we're from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, yeah?
We're tracing a laundry mark. Do you use a mark like the one on this handkerchief?
P788. It don't look familiar.
Well, you got a book or something that lists them, don't you?
Yeah. I'll look in it if you want me to.
If it ain't too much trouble.
Just a minute.
Hold your breath and keep your fingers crossed, Phil.
My fingers are all calloused from keeping them crossed. It don't look like there's a laundry using that mark this side of Bangor, Maine.
Hey, what did you say that number was again?
P788.
Oh, well, I doubt if it's ours. We never seem to have the numbers you officers want. Guess we cater to a higher type of customer. Don't you suppose that's why?
Possibly. But would you mind going back? You turned 2 pages that time.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
That's funny, and I turned right by the P's. Now, let me see. Well, what do you know?
Well, did you find it?
Yeah, here it is. P788.
What's the name of the customer that used that mark?
Says Ryan here.
What initials?
Doesn't give any.
Address?
The Watson Apartment, 724 15th Street.
Come on, King. That's all we need.
Are you the proprietor here?
I'm Mrs. Watson, the owner.
Well, we're officers from Fresno County. We want some information about some tenant of yours named Ryan.
Why, they haven't been here since last September.
What were their full names?
Mr. and Mrs. T.J. Ryan.
What did they look like?
Well, Mr. Ryan was about 40 years old, sort of short and stout, and his head was bald in the front. And Mrs. Ryan was about 30. She was sort of pretty and wore stylish clothes.
They have a lease?
Yes.
Who signed it?
Mr. Ryan.
Have you got that lease here?
Well, yes, I believe so.
Well, may we see it?
Well, yes, if I can find it. It should be in this drawer in the desk. Oh, yes, here it is.
Say, look at that, Phil.
Yeah.
If I remember right, this is darn close to the handwriting of T.T. Jones on the register of that garage in Fresno. I'd like to borrow this for a handwriting comparison, Mrs. Watson.
Very well.
Now, do you know where these Ryans went after they left here?
Why, yes. They said they were moving to the Casa Marino.
Where's that?
Over on Market Street.
That all ties in, Phil. We found some napkins from the Casa Marina in that house they abandoned in Fresno.
Yeah, we better go over there right away then.
Why, yes. Mr. and Mrs. Ryan took an apartment here on September 24th. They were with me until the day before Christmas last year.
Where'd they move to?
Well, they didn't say, but they had their baggage taken away by the Federal Transfer Company.
Yeah, I moved them trunks for Mrs. Ryan. Where? Now, let me see. Oh, it was the Hickok Apartments on Vallejo Street in San Francisco.
Yes, I'm Mrs. Hickok. Why, yes, the people you described registered here at Christmas time, but about 2 weeks later they skipped out, owing me the loan.
So tediously from apartment house to apartment house, the officers follow their quarry, always just a jump behind them. Then, while staking an apartment house on Eureka Street, they see a woman answering Mrs. Ryan's description leave the place. They follow her for days, hoping she will lead them to Ryan, but finally, while chasing a Vallejo-bound stage on which she is riding, they have a flat tire and are forced to abandon the chase. But their fallen hopes are revived next day by the information that T. Ryan had purchased an automobile in Oakland. They run down this clue and next day report to the sheriff in Fresno.
Well, boys, did you get anywhere?
Did we? I'll say so.
Where's your prisoner?
Oh, we haven't got him yet, but we know who he is.
Fine. Who is he?
Name's Thomas Griffin. Served 2 hitches in San Quentin on grand larceny and burglary.
Well, how'd you find that out?
Well, as usual with criminals, he slipped. When he bought the used car from this dealer in Oakland, he and this dame of his looked it over together. The dealer made a crack about just the thing for your wife. Our man said that she wasn't his wife. She was a nurse at the hospital in Vallejo, and that his name was Griffin.
Well, how do you tie it up?
This way. There's a gang of bank robbers from the east hanging out in Vallejo, according to the boys up north. Now, we lost our dame when she was on the Vallejo stage. We haven't been able to tie the name Regan or Ryan on a record we've got on file, so we tried Griffin. And here it is. Look at that card. He fits every description we have on him.
Good work, boys, good work. One time a hunch played outright. But say, have you any idea where you'll find Thomas Griffin?
No, but we're going back over the trail again. We're bound to catch up with him.
Back over the tedious trail go the officers, checking the confusing addresses, checking known acquaintances and friends of the wanted couple. Their search is fruitless, their discouragement great when a tip from Sheriff Jones that a Mr. and Mrs. T.J. Ryan own a small ranch in Solano and sends them scurrying to Vacaville. They drive to the neighborhood of the Ryan Ranch outside the town, and pulling up beside the road, they plan their strategy.
If this dame is as smart as she ought to be, she'll take us for bulls.
All right. And if Griffin is there, we're liable to end up on a plank if we start nosing around.
Of course, this lead might be a blind. After all, Ryan isn't an uncommon name.
Here comes a kid up the road. Let's ask him some phony question. Say, kid.
Yeah?
You live around here?
Sure. Just up the road a piece.
We're looking for a Mrs. Jameson. You know where she lives?
No, sir. I never heard of her.
Supposed to be around here someplace.
I don't know no Mrs. Jameson.
Well, she lives in that house over there?
Oh, no. Mrs. Ryan lives there.
Mrs. Ryan, eh? Does she live alone?
Uh-huh.
She's got a husband, but he went away a couple of days ago.
Can you imagine that? Missed him again.
But you don't know any Mrs. Jameson, huh?
No, sir.
I guess we weren't directed right then. Thanks, kid.
You're welcome.
Let's go, partner.
Now, wait a minute. We're not sure whether these are the Ryans we're looking for. And here's our chance.
What do you mean?
That dame just came out of that house. Hand me those binoculars from the back, will you?
Here you are.
Thanks. Darn these things, I never could get them focused right. There we are. Still, it's her. It's our Mrs. Ryan, or Regan, or Griffin, or whatever her name is.
Let's get out of here fast. We don't want her to spot us.
For 10 days, the two officers watched the Ryan ranch from the cover of a haystack, noting every movement of Mrs. Ryan through their high-powered binoculars. But no one visits the woman. Griffin never returns, and finally Mrs. Ryan packs up and leaves the ranch. The officers are close behind her when she drives back to Oakland. They watch her as she registers in a cheap hotel, and 15 minutes later, they have taken rooms across the street commanding a view into hers. The next day, when she enters a downtown bank, they are close behind her. And when she leaves, they approach the bank official with whom she had been talking.
We're police officers.
Yes, gentlemen.
What did that woman want you were just talking to?
Well, she has a safe deposit box here.
What for?
We never require that information of our customers.
Did she use the box?
Yes?
What'd she put in it?
Well, I don't know. We provide private booths for the depositors.
You'd better open that box for us.
Well, I can't do that.
We're investigating a bad beef, a bank robbery. How do you know this woman isn't looking this place over for the next job her gang pulls?
Still, I can't let you into the box. The law forbids it. And anyway, we have no keys excepting those in the possession of the depositor.
Now, look here, young fella. This is important, and you're obstructing...
Wait a minute, King. He's right. He has no way to let us into the box, even if he were permitted to by law. We'll have to watch it.
Watch it? What for?
I just thought of something. This Harris gang that's supposed to be hiding out up in Vallejo used the gag back east.
What gag?
Sending messages through a safe deposit box. Safer than the mail, see?
I get it. It's worth a try.
So Deputy Sheriff King takes up his vigil, hidden in the vault of the bank, watching day after day for the return of Mrs. Ryan. Finally, 3 days later, he sees her enter the vault, remove a paper from the safe deposit box, and replace it with another. After tearing up the first paper and throwing it in the wastebasket, she goes out. Carefully, King retrieves the abandoned scraps of paper, rushes with them to his partner. Behind locked doors of their hotel room, they carefully piece the sheet together.
Here. This one goes in here.
And the square piece fits in after the F in the third line.
Right. There we are. It says, Dear Dad, if you come in, you will find me at the Hotel Wilson. Ask for Mrs. T.J. Ryan.
You were right, Phil. She's using the safe deposit box for a mailbox. She's sent him the other key to the box, and she's expecting him to come back.
Yep, and it's only a matter of time until he walks into our hands. If you can hang out that long.
Don't worry about me. I'll sit down in that vault for the next year if I have to.
While King stakes out 16 hours a day in the vault, and G.I., his partner, keeps tab on the outside activities of Mrs. Ryan, Sheriff Jones enlists the aid of his wife, and the wife of Under Sheriff George Overholt, who, using assumed names, move into the hotel in the next room to Mrs. Ryan, seek to make her acquaintance, gain her confidence. May 28, 1924. Officers piece together the second note removed from the safe deposit vault. It reads,
Go to your aunt's house and stay there until I see you. Very important.
May 29th. In the morning, the following note is removed and torn to bits.
Dear Daddy, I closed up the ranch and am here at the Hotel Wilson, 17th and Grove Street.
And in the afternoon, the officers discover...
Dear Daddy, have closed up the ranch. A man was there looking for you. Go to your aunt's house and get in touch with me. Very important.
June 10th, 1924.
Dear Daddy, phone me at the Hotel Wilson, room 411, under the name of Mrs. T.J. Ryan. May get another room, but will stay in the same hotel. Very important. Have sale for property, but can't sell unless you sign it in my name. Hurry and come to me. I need you.
Day after day, week after week, the distraught Mrs. Ryan leaves her plaintive messages in the safe deposit box for her absent husband, never knowing that she is constantly under the surveillance of the law, that those two nice ladies next door are wives of the law, that across the street the law sits with field glasses watching her when she's at home, that she is accompanied by the law when she goes out on the street, that within 6 feet of her as she enters the bank vault sits the law, that she is unwittingly serving as a decoy for her husband. Hiding in the bank vault, day after weary day, sits Deputy Sheriff King. May becomes June. June melts scorchingly into July, and July gives way to August. It seems futile, hopeless, yet King will not give up. And on the 74th day of his vigil, a short man with baldish head appears at the vault. Signing the name T.J. Ryan in the register, he goes to box 1407. King, recognizing him, takes a fleeting glance at the register and steps up behind him.
Up your hands, Griffin.
What?
Hi. Just make sure you haven't got a gat hidden somewhere.
Hey, what's this all about?
You're under arrest.
For what?
Hold up and robbery of the Clovis Bank last February. Stick out your arms.
Hey, it's a bum beef, copper. I don't know anything about it.
Tell that to the judge.
Who's there? Is that you, Daddy?
Open up, Mrs. Ryan.
Who is it?
Officers of the law. Open up and we'll break the door down.
All right, I'm coming. What is it? What do you...
You're under arrest.
What for?
Suspicion of bank robbery.
Suspicion of... Did they get Tom? Did they get him?
Yes, ma'am, they did.
Oh, Tom. Oh, my poor Daddy.
Come along, ma'am.
Griffin, stoutly proclaiming his innocence, is brought back to Fresno to face trial. The woman who had passed as his wife is released for lack of sufficient evidence to prosecute. Griffin is sentenced to Folsom Penitentiary for from 5 years to life. But a year and a half later, in the stone quarry at Folsom...
How about you boys? You all set?
Sure. Where did you go?
Now, don't forget, Mike, when you get the truck wheeled outside the wall, ask that bull to go in with you. Don't give him any excuse you like, but get him back inside.
Sure, I know. Hey, watch out. That gun bull's looking our way.
Well, don't act dumb. Start loading the truck some more.
There. He's gone.
Okay. Come on, Eddie. You and Red slide into the truck. Yeah, it's a nice job you made on this platform, Mike.
Sure, I fixed it good. You know, I'm getting out in a few more years. You guys have got life here. What the devil? You need a break.
Okay, Mike. We're all tucked away underneath. Start rolling the truck.
All right. Here we go. Hey, guard. Dump truck going out.
Okay, come along. Hurry it up. All right. Dump it here, Mike.
Oh.
What the devil's the matter with you?
Oh, I got a pain again. Say, maybe you better take me back to see the doctor. Oh.
What are you doing, stalling?
No, on the level, I got a real bad pain. You know, I catch him like that often. We better see the doc.
Well, okay, come on.
Oh, I tell you,
Okay, boys. They're back inside the wall. Come on.
Hear that Mike's a swell actor, ain't he?
I'll say. All right, boys, can the chatter. Come on. On the bank with you. They'll miss us in a minute.
How's it going, Griffin?
I don't think I can go much further.
Jeez. People in Northern California looking for us.
2 days now, walking nights, nothing to eat, in the woods full of cops.
We ain't come 50 miles.
I wish we was back inside. At least we'd eat.
All right. You guys want to go back, go ahead. All right, it was my idea to break. I ain't sorry. I'm worse off than any of you coughing my lungs up every minute. I still say I'm better off this way. Stay and stir. Oh, no.
If we don't go back, they'll shoot us down.
Yeah, and if we do, they'll put us in the hole.
At least they give you bread and water in the hole.
I'm for going back.
So am I.
Yellow rat. Go on. Go on back. But I ain't going back. They'll never get me alive.
But don't you see, Griffin?
Yeah, sure, I see. Go on back. I don't want guys with me that are yellow. Go on back. I'm going on. I'm breaking clean free. I ain't never going back to no prison.
Come on, Red, let's scram while we still got time. He's third simple. There ain't nothing we can...
Yellow rats. I'm going on. I'm never going back to no jail.
They found Thomas Griffin the Owl, the three-time loser, dead by the side of the road the next morning. I leave it to the judgment of the listener whether the quick reward from a bank robbery was worth the life he led, the price he paid, and the death he died. Griffin's partner in the Clovis Bank holdup, Felix Sloper, was caught some time later when he tried to shoot his way out of a San Francisco bank robbery. Sloper sent a bullet through a police officer on that job, but in the end, society sent him crashing through the gallows at San Quentin.
Thank you, Sheriff Overholt. How can any red-blooded boy or girl listen to this program and not feel the urge to join the police in their war on crime? Rio Grande has organized the Junior Police Department, which now has hundreds of thousands of members. So boys and girls can learn detective work and police methods. Every member of this Junior Police Department is entitled to a free detective microscope, fingerprint outfit, mystery writing and code outfit, as well as guns, handcuffs, badges, and many other articles, all free. Your neighborhood dealer who sells Rio Grande cracked gasoline will help you get this complete Junior Police outfit in a hurry. Ask him. Millions of motorists all over America are now taking their cars to the nearest dealer selling Sinclair motor oils to Sinclairize for summer. The time has come to change oil and lubricants throughout your car. And every Rio Grande cracked gasoline dealer is now a trained specialist in Sinclair scientific lubrication. Because Sinclair is one of the world's largest manufacturers of lubricants, all Rio Grande dealers are equipped with authoritative, up-to-the-minute information on exactly how and what oils and lubricants to apply to every car made according to its mileage. You can Sinclairize for summer wherever Rio Grande cracked gasoline is sold.
Calling all cars, attention all cars. Fresno Sheriff's Office calling all cars. A cancellation broadcast 129 regarding a bank holdup in Clovis. Suspects in this case now in custody. That's all.
Narrator Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night.